You need to.
Welcome back to welcome back to the range. What do we call this? Facebook Live? Live at the range? All right, sorry. Welcome back to Live at the Range. I'm John, and Ron is not with us because he's out buying milk and eggs.
I got it. Here's my milk. Here's my eggs. I'm ready. It's cold.
You got eggs, you got bread.
Those are eggs. There's bread right here.
What about bacon?
Bacon, 22s. Just the essentials.
Yeah, we're going to apparently get some snow.
Just the essentials.
So if you want milk, eggs, or bacon, you need to go get our bread. Get it now because apparently it's going to disappear in the next 4 or 5 hours. So,
surprised you're not in flip-flops and a Hawaiian shirt.
That'd be my son. It's snow on the ground. I got to make him wear shoes. So.
Whose idea was this?
So if you don't know, there's bad weather forecasted midnight tonight.
Sorry. How's my hair?
Your hair's the same as it always is.
Both of them?
Yeah. All three. So.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I look forward to the snow. I dig the snow.
Oh yeah, everybody does. My kids look forward to it. Time to sled.
That's probably why I dig it, right? Because
it's
the whole no school today because it's snowing outside phenomenon.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work with work, so you still got to go to work most of the time.
Well, it comes down to it really doesn't matter what the weather's outside if it's something that you really want to do.
That's true.
Right?
So are we going skeet shooting tomorrow?
If you want.
Let's go.
I'll go skeet shooting tomorrow.
I would love to.
I'm
early. Let's go.
Shoot white discs. I'll be 100 for 100.
All right.
What's this?
So this is the new Canik. If you haven't seen this,
Canik or Janik?
I don't know. How's it pronounced?
Canik.
Canik.
So we're wrong on both.
Janik is the Turkish pronunciation.
Well,
Canik. All right.
Janik is the Turkish pronunciation. It's manufactured in Turkey, imported by Century Arms.
Yep. So it's a TP9S or the TP9 Elite Combat. So
it's
you
bad.
Can't really see everything on it, but Ron will go over everything real quick, and I'll point it out as you talk. So
it's
start talking.
so bad it's good.
So
RMR ready. Get lots of plates to mount
right here.
any RMRs that you want.
And it comes with about 3 or 4 different plates.
Yep. Comes with another back strap. Comes with another magazine.
2 mags, extended mag.
One extended, one flush. The flared magwell.
Flared magwell.
These are actually, is that right? Salient Arms sights. Okay. Salient barrel. And look, that thing, you can't. Oh, you didn't get it, did you?
No.
So it actually, I like
it's got
this.
a wrench on it. I love it.
That's what I really like about those barrels, because my biggest knock against a threaded barrel is the thread protectors will back off.
They work loose. So Beretta puts an O-ring on theirs, and Canik's actually got theirs torqued with the wrench.
Comes with a wrench.
Comes with a wrench.
To
and
take
that is
off.
a Salient Arms barrel.
Yep, Salient Arms barrel and a Salient trigger. That trigger is like...
So the reset on this trigger is like super short and crisp. We were
Put
really
it up on the
amazed
camera
by
and do it. You should get it up on the camera and show them.
Then right here is an extended mag release as well.
Yep.
Ambidextrous on the slide catch, slide release. So, and
it's a reversible
mag catch. So basically it's a fantastic gun. It's an MOS striker fired polymer gun. Comes with a whole package.
Yeah, all kinds of goodies. Here, so. I have to do it. I'm sorry. Check this out. Clear?
Clear.
All right. Can you see it? Can you see it? Oh, so.
Your thumb's in the way, you big fat thumb.
Shut up. How's that? So listen. Oh, get me closer on the mic. There's the brake. Now check out this reset. Shh. Oh my gosh.
It's really short. It's really crisp. So we're blown away by that. We like it. We like it a lot. So
I like it. I like that line anyway. I think it's a pretty doggone good firearm. The first time that I actually got to do anything with that was a couple of years ago at SHOT for their TP9 race gun that they've got, and I thought that trigger was fantastic. But this trigger is just like, Here, you better catch it. This trigger is just like even better.
Well,
You're gonna want one.
it's just the fit and finish of these guns. The stuff coming out of Turkey, I can remember years back when the firearms coming out of Turkey were very hit or miss.
They're like the number 3 manufacturer in the world now.
Yeah, and their firearms industry has just taken off. A good portion of it imported to the U.S., especially the stuff they've done with shotguns and with these striker fired pistols is just amazing. So,
Yep.
good stuff.
Good
If you
stuff.
haven't seen one, come in the range, check it out.
Yep.
All right.
Definitely.
What do we got going on at the range?
Our mob this month, we got
Mob
a
is
sim
the sim
contest
shooting.
going on.
Yep.
Members get to shoot it for free the first time if you want to, and anybody can participate in it. But it's a timed and scored stage here in the simulator, and $5 will get you, if you're a member, $5 will get you your second or third or fourth attempt. If you're a non-member, you can shoot it for $5. All proceeds are going to, why do I always
Responder
forget this?
rescue.
First responder rescue.
Chris, what's the top prize on this?
It's a ride-on.
It's a ride-on optic.
Mhm.
Yep.
And number 2 is a crossbreed holster, and then there's some T-shirts and hats and other things. So raise money for a great foundation.
Yep.
Get to play in the simulator, which not enough people are doing. You should definitely need to check this thing out, and maybe win some cool stuff. So
Yep.
definitely do that. We get a lot of questions about this. Let's talk about Black Friday,
Okay.
which is in a week and 2 days,
Okay.
right? We are going to pay attention. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. Make sure that you're subscribed to our e-blast that we send out. But Sunday afternoon or evening, we're going to post all of our Black Friday events and sales that we've got going on. You're definitely going to want to be in tune to that. Sam is making grinchy faces over here.
Sorry, somebody was asking me if we were still on for tonight.
Yes.
Yes, and yes. This
Weather's not supposed to hit till around midnight, so we'll be
6.
We'll be more than done.
Supposed to start at 6.
That's,
6
not,
to
that's not
6.
what my weather app said.
Well,
Go ahead and talk while I prove him wrong.
Put your stone tablet away and come into the 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, our events on the night. We're going to be posting our Black Friday deals starting Sunday night. Go to the 6 p.m.
I'm showing 3 a.m. here.
So,
It's
just so
the
we
weather.
can say
It's the
that
weather.
Ron is
Just-
wrong,
Either way, Ron is wrong. That's all I'm hearing.
which is something
Whatever.
around here we just call ops normal.
You guys must be related to me or something.
You're supposed to tell them it's coming, right? All right.
Yes, we're on for the
We're
weather
on
anyway.
for tonight.
Come
So-
see us next week through Black Friday weekend. It's going to be a ball. We're going to have lots of specials, ammos, firearms, optics, and knives, and all kinds of cool stuff. We're going to have an AR package that's going to be stupid good.
Yep.
We're going to have
Lots
some
of good
pistols
deals.
that are going to be stupid good, and basically the whole store is going to be on sale.
Anybody that wants to comment on Facebook and further prove Ron wrong, feel free.
Yeah, that will be a long line.
Right.
All right.
So
Why don't
the
you-
Black Friday is all coming out on Sunday.
Yep, we're going to add,
But
let everybody
not
know
be
what's going on.
available until
Black Friday.
Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Don't ask us to get it early. The answer is no.
All right. What else we got going on?
It's your turn to talk.
All right. So Saturday we got Defensive Handgun 1. We just did this past Saturday Defensive Handgun 2, and then we got Defensive Handgun 3 coming up in a couple weeks. This is one of the classes we get a ton of feedback on. It's all positive, so if you haven't done that, you've always wanted to take an advanced course, Defensive Handgun 1 is a great place to start. So, and Phil, who's our instructor for that Saturday?
Jason.
So that is
Jason Gibbs.
Yep,
Yep.
Jason Gibbs, Manchester Police Department, does a fantastic job. Then Low Light Pistol on Sunday, that has been moved. That has been canceled?
Yes.
Okay, so no low light on Sunday, that's canceled. But there is a medical class on Sunday. I got to stop for a second because medical classes, I think this is so overlooked. I think a lot of people get CPR, first aid growing up, and some of the youth groups that are going on, scouts and so forth. But then as an adult, we just never pay any attention to it, and this is just so critical. I cannot tell you as an adult how many times I've used the medical training that I've got just everyday things happening, not being in a first responder role. So these training classes are taught to teach you what to do when there's been this trauma, primarily a gunshot wound,
Yeah.
and how to survive that initial part of it so that you can get to that medical care that can save your life or someone else's life
Super
later on.
important
So
stuff.
it's really important. We often overlook it when it comes to training. You need to take one of these classes. So.
The fact is, you may, at some point in your life, have to use your firearm to defend yourself, but I guarantee you're going to need medical skills at some point.
This is true.
If it's not yourself, somebody around you, a car accident, an accident in the kitchen, any number of things can happen. I think medical training is one of the most important things that people need to focus on. I read a thread the other day. Somebody put a thread up on something talking about how you should carry a tourniquet. People should have a tourniquet with them, right? Phil, should people have a tourniquet?
Yes.
Phil, how many tourniquets do you have on you right now?
7.
3.
I actually have none on here.
Oh!
They're all in my bag.
Oscar,
I
here's
took a
the
bunch
real
of stuff
thing.
out of my pockets before I came in here. I
So
apologize.
here's the mentality. I'm going to rant right now. So I'm reading this thread, and
I'll be
like
back in about 10 minutes.
80% of the people on that thread are like, I'll use a belt or shoelaces, or why do I need a tourniquet? If I have to shoot the bad guy, I'm not going to help him. I'm like, they don't get it. They don't get it. Those are the people that need a tourniquet that goes here.
The neck tourniquet?
So can you use your shirt, shoelaces, a belt in an emergency? You absolutely can. You absolutely. Is it as effective as
It's going to make a good tourniquet.
Is it as effective as a
So let me see
quality
that, Sam.
tourniquet?
So this is Sam's belt, and this is the inside portion of a carry rig. It's got a little Cobra buckle on it, and the problem with it is not necessarily the buckle, is this is very stiff. So when you use a tourniquet on something like this, tying this off and then torquing it down to make it tight, it's going to be very difficult to do because this does not lend itself to being tied into a knot. Not saying that we couldn't try to figure out a way to make do, but obviously
In
not
an
going to be the best
emergency, you'll
choice.
do what you have to do. You're going to make do with the tools that you have.
Belt is not going to make good
Yeah.
tourniquet.
But the truth is that tourniquet, and medical training has evolved completely. They used to say tourniquets are a last resort. Now they say put it on right away. Get it on there and keep it on there. Because it saves lives. It's proven to save lives. We've seen it in theater overseas and
Yeah.
in combat zones repeatedly.
In Iraq especially,
Yep.
the experiences in Afghanistan and Iraq the past 18 years, but especially Iraq, have changed the way we view trauma medicine and what people can actually survive. If you look at the amount of disabled vets, and interestingly enough, these vets are our hero. We had Veterans Day on Monday.
You bet.
That have come back with some pretty severe injuries that they wouldn't have survived a couple of decades ago because the treatment wasn't there. So it's really evolved, and one of those is tourniquets.
Yep.
And there's a couple different versions. Phil, what's the best one?
SWAT team, cats.
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 Cats are preferred. However, the best tourniquet is the one that you have when you need it.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's another thing. That tourniquet isn't to use on the bad guy. I mean, if you think that heaven forbid, you are involved in a shooting to defend yourself or your loved ones, your chances of coming out of that unscathed perfect? We had a trained police officer was carjacked 2 weeks ago, who was killed in a
I'm
gunfight.
the retired police officer in St. Louis City.
Yeah, and that's just such a sad deal. But bottom line is, you're going to use first aid skills guaranteed at some point. The firearm maybe, but first aid skills are guaranteed. You need to be trained. You need to maintain that level of preparedness.
All right, so I guess the
And
point
carry a
there is
tourniquet.
get trained and get a tourniquet. If you got questions about that, just email Phil at therangestl.com. All right, CCW is also on Monday. That class is 8 a.m., right, Phil?
Yes.
So it's an 8 to 5 class on Monday. And then on Wednesday, we will be closing early at 3 p.m. on Wednesday. So please note if you're going to come
Next
shoot.
Wednesday.
I'm sorry?
Clarify.
Next
Not
Wednesday,
tonight.
not today. Next
week.
Wednesday. And also the Guns and Hoses annual benefit is for Backstoppers is on next Wednesday as well, 11/21.
And we're gonna have folks there, right?
Yep.
Come party with us.
So Black Friday sales, you already covered that. Yep. All right. So that's it
Super
for what's
cool.
going on. So,
Let's get to the news.
all right. So what's the
My,
news?
my favorite story this week, the loop trolley is up and running and already multiple cars have been hit.
hit. So, already multiple cars.
Multiple cars have been hit by the trolley.
Oh, has it?
I'm sorry.
How many millions of dollars did each one of those things
Yeah,
cost?
2 or 3. They're saying it's not big damage, but they're not parking right and they're losing mirrors when the trolley's going by. So I don't know. I get a kick out of that stuff. Something about that's funny to me. But I love the loop. We go down there and have dinner quite a bit. My wife and I hang out down there. Some great restaurants.
Now, is the
down there.
trolley operated by Metrolink?
I don't know.
Does anybody know that?
I would doubt it.
I don't think so.
okay.
I think they're separate,
Just,
but I couldn't guarantee it.
I thought it was separate.
The dude down there,
So, important point, anything operated by Metrolink, be it bus or train,
Can't
you
take your
cannot
firearm.
take your firearm
Yeah.
on it, even with the CCW permit.
Why don't we check into that and put it on part of this post when we put this up on our FaceTime live book.
All right.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about stuff defense.
Is it?
It is run by Metro.
It is run by Metrolink.
Metro St. Louis, yes.
There you go.
So no firearms allowed when you're riding
Right.
the trolley. Dang it.
So let's talk about stuff defense versus self-defense. So our friends at USCCA recently put out a video about it's self-defense, not stuff defense.
This is super important to
And
talk
with a couple of exceptions, Missouri not being one of them, you cannot use deadly force to defend possessions or stuff. You can only
Property.
use it to defend people, and that's either severe bodily injury or death of people.
about. Right.
So, unfortunately, we see this occur because people are not taking time to get properly training, or they're not listening to the training that they're getting, or they're not getting good training.
I think a lot of it is that they have not thought through in their mind the different kind of things that can happen around them that they will need to separate themselves from and not get attached to.
And that may be a part of it. So we got some videos. So let's show a couple of videos here. Phil, you ready on one of these videos?
These are not.
the bad shit.
These are bad shoot videos,
shoots.
okay?
This was the moment cops say the co-owner of a convenience store shot at a man they claim was stealing beer from the store. On surveillance, you can see a man in a gray t-shirt carrying a few cases of beer out the door. The owner and his son, who are behind the counter, look at each other and then run off after the suspected thief, cops identified as Reedy Defoe. It looks like the son dropped something on his way out and quickly picks it up. Defoe is seen outside the Florida store tossing the beer cases in the front passenger seat of his white car. That's when cops say the 22-year-old co-owner, Mahidiam Hassan, fired his gun at Defoe. Defoe, who was shot in the arm and chest, later crashed his car and was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. He had just gotten out of jail last month. The co-owner was charged with attempted murder. Cops say the beer is worth about $36.
All right, so two videos there that were
Not fun to watch.
especially the
fun to
second
watch.
one.
Ugh.
Second one, the first one, the guy did not die. The guy who was stealing beer. The second one, the guy that was, I think, stealing a hatchet from an Army surplus store, did die. Both bad shoots because, again, the person's actually moving away from the person who has the gun, and so
not
they're
posing a
not a
threat.
threat.
Yep.
And that's the whole point: is if they're not a threat, then you don't use deadly force. Period. So just two examples of bad shoots when it comes to citizens using their right of self-defense, but they've translated that over to self-defense. And I understand if you're a store owner, people stealing your stuff, you don't like that. Trust me, we get that here.
Yep.
Okay, but it's you just can't use.
Let it go.
You can't use deadly force
Let
to
it go.
defend stuff.
Call your
So-
insurance agent, get a new one.
All right, so I'm going to make a request. If there's any lawyers out there watching, figure out if the loop trolley is part of Metrolink or not. Yes.
It is not owned by Metrolink. I don't believe it owns it's its own entity, but they do have in their rules no weapon or other instrument intended for use as a weapon to be carried onto the facility, except for law enforcement. Those weapons include or are not limited to firearms, switchblades, swords, or any other instrument of any kind known as blackjack, billy club, sandbag, metal knuckles, blah blah blah, etc., etc., etc.
So they got a whole bunch of rules.
Yes.
It would be interesting though if we could get the lawyers watching and Chris or somebody's watching clarification
Yeah.
on whether or not that falls under the same rules as Metrolink. So it's one thing if they say, hey, you can't have it on our trolley, and they find you with it, you're getting kicked off. It's another thing if you're on Metrolink where you get charged with a felony. So
Right.
it's a little bit different.
Big difference.
So if we get clarification for that, we'll try to get that posted up in the not too distant future. All right, so good shoot, bad shoot. If they're not trying to hurt you or someone else, you don't use deadly force.
Period.
That's just the rule.
So Phil teaches something in his CCW class that I think is important. This would be important to my wife, put it this way. But your pets are not people.
Pets are a thing to the
Pets,
state of Missouri.
as far as the law is concerned, pets are a possession. You cannot use your firearm in defense against a person in defense of your pet. Now, if you're out walking somewhere and a coyote comes out of the woods and is attacking your dog, that's different, right? But if a person is trying to hurt your dog, or you can't take that, you can't use your firearm to defend the life of your dog or your cat or your
Yeah.
goldfish. So,
And I'm sure we'll get some posts about pets are people too. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that the law does not recognize that.
State of Missouri, not all laws, state of Missouri. That changes
Right.
state to state. State of
Yes.
Missouri, they are property.
Is there a state where
is there
they're
a state
actually people?
they're not property?
There are states where they're
What?
There are states that they're considered like part. I don't remember how it is, but they're considered part of the family. It's not as people, but they're not considered possessions.
Well, that's probably somewhere like California where you can't have a gun anyway.
I remember when I had a.
You know what? California would pass a law that
Yes,
says it's
they would.
okay to shoot somebody trying to hurt your dog, but you can't shoot somebody that kicks in your front door.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be about right. So, all right.
So in my defense, so you just teach people, I was in fear for my dog's life.
There you go. I figured if he hurt
Bad
me,
deal.
then he would get to my dog. There
Do
you
you
go.
have an example of a justifiable shoot to show?
What you sent me,
Yeah, so this one it's not super clear, but in this one that you're going to watch, the perp that comes in has his back to you and he has a firearm. So why don't you look at that one and we'll just talk about the differences there.
You know that it's in the rules that you can't pee on the trolley? That's in the rules.
All right, so
Are we
it's not
live?
abundantly
Are we
clear. We're
back?
live. It's not abundantly clear in that video, but the guy in the gray hoodie does have a gun, and
Threatening people.
and the good guy with the gun shoots him, puts him down. You don't. The gun sort of goes off camera, but he did have a firearm. So that's an example where he comes in threatening people with a firearm. He's not attempting to retreat. He's
Actively
continuing
engaged.
to
Yeah.
he's actively engaged. So that's an example of a justifiable shoot. And so that's the difference is you feel like it's imminent harm to yourself or someone else. And you can find dozens of videos of off-duty cops and citizens doing the same thing in convenience stores and so forth. Matter of fact, a couple weeks ago I had a story of a dad who, him and his teenage son actually got shot in the process, but the guy came in and started shooting up a Burger King and he ended up putting the bad guy down.
Yep.
So just, it's about you and people, it's not about stuff. So.
Always remember that.
Yeah.
Always. You just have to make that mental decision early and maintain it constantly. If somebody's beating on your car you're inside your house and somebody's beating on your car with a baseball bat call your insurance, call the cops, call an insurance agent. If he comes charging at you with a baseball bat, that's a different story. So,
All right. So other somewhat local. This is over in Illinois, in was it Midlothian? Is that where that occurred?
yeah, I'm kind of
Our Midlothian officer.
Yeah, I'm
Different
kind of
municipality.
uncomfortable and hesitant to talk about this ongoing investigation, but apparently there was an active shooter in a nightclub.
Yep.
Security guard jumped in, tackled the guy, had him on the ground,
Apparently, well, the security guard was armed.
and
so
was
had him
armed.
on the ground and
had him
had
on,
a gun.
on the ground with
Yep.
a gun to his back. Law enforcement shows up and shot the security guard.
Yeah. So it's very confusing about how all that occurred. So that's still, being resolved, I
ongoing.
guess. So.
But it just continues to, you need to make sure that you're able to communicate what's going on. And, if the cops show up and you've got the bad guy at gunpoint and the cops show up, I wouldn't be afraid to just put my gun down and back up, especially if they don't know who I am.
You need to make sure that you're identified as a good guy and
Yeah.
you follow
Very
whatever
important.
command they give you.
Yeah, this is a sad
Okay?
deal.
So-
Sad deal. Really good guy, apparently, working,
So, Bill,
doing
one
his-
of the
doing
things
his
that
job.
I was told a long time ago, in the early days of CCW when I first took the class, was that if you're afraid your firearm somebody might get your firearm, like the bad guys theirs too, is lay the firearm down, step on it, and then when the cops come up, they tell you to back up or whatever. Now it's on them, right? So you can maintain control of your firearm in that way without necessarily having it in your hand and being a threat. But you need to obey the cops. If they tell you to put the gun down, you got to put it down.
Yep.
Okay? Because in the end, you may still be right. I mean, in this situation here, I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. But if you're shot or dead, it doesn't matter if you were right.
Yeah,
Right. So
exactly.
You got to always obey the officers.
Yep.
So, and it's another point. Doesn't matter if you're an officer or a civilian. You are responsible for every round that comes out of your firearm. So you need to be sure when you start discharging that firearm. As our first two no-shoot videos talked about. Now these guys were sure of their target, but they had really poor judgment in making that decision.
No kidding.
All right. So good news. We've got so apparently we're about to solve all crime in this country simply by implementing HR 7115.
Yay, more gun laws.
The 3D
We need
Firearms
more
Prohibition
gun
Act.
laws. We need more
So
guns.
apparently if we do this, we're going to stop crime. At least that's what I've been told. So
Well, I think we're going to start seeing stuff like this coming out of the House regularly now.
the good news is I don't think it's going anywhere in the Senate, but you will see this happening.
Yep.
And, in the past decade, I don't want to say 15 years, on the national level for gun laws has been pretty good to us. But there have been some states that have really gone real far to one side, such as California, Connecticut. You even saw a Midwest state, a mountain state like Colorado pass some pretty silly things. So at the state level, things can still happen, even at the national level that they're not. So.
Well, that's a great point. We're fortunate that we live in a Second Amendment state, but that didn't happen accidentally. I remember how long it took to get concealed carry passed in Missouri. Was a miserable fight.
Well, up until
It took.
what, Phil? 20 years ago, you had to get a permit to buy a pistol in St.
Yeah.
Louis County.
Yeah, you sure did. Yeah, I remember doing that the first time that I bought a gun over here. I had to go down to the sheriff's department and give them $10 and get a permit, and then take it to the gun store. And what a nightmare. So we got good because we did it the right way. We did it through legislation and
Through
exercising our votes, but that has to be a continuing process.
All right, so at the national level, the 115th Congress, it is HR 7115. Basically what they're trying to do is prohibit the sale, acquisition, distribution, import of, or the advertising or marketing of any type of assault weapons parts kit, machine gun kit, 80% lowers, any type of frame or anything that could be made into a firearm, etc. So what this is really trying to cover is the 80% lowers.
And
That's what they're talking about.
And they're throwing a lot of other stuff.
They're
on
also
top
putting
of it.
assault weapons kits and machine gun parts kits in there. So
can't
I
buy
hate to tell
machine
you,
gun
their
parts?
definition of assault weapons kit includes basically any part for a semi-automatic firearm.
Yeah.
The way I read that legislation, Chris. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to interrupt because Chris Cox is currently messaging me. What exactly, I guess, is the question in response to after we found the rule on the weapons on the trolley? Is the question how that could potentially be
Is the trolley part of MetroLink? Is it a federal enclave, or is it just
Yep.
connect with the Metrolink system, but is owned and operated by a different entity. So
Is it a federal?
different rules apply.
Yeah. Is it a federal
Is it
offense?
a crime or not?
CCW license and use carry
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so HR
So basically,
7115.
the way that they define parts kit is parts for any semi-automatic firearm.
So if I need to
So-
get a set of pins,
It says parts.
that's a
So,
part, okay.
Again,
If I want to
it will,
install.
it will
an-
end up being up to the ATF to make the rules to clarify all of that, but.
What about an ambi
so,
safety selector? Can I do that?
Again, the way I read it, I could easily see how they could include that.
They're
so,
going to include all of that
Yeah.
stuff. That's what their
So-
intention is.
so.
So basically, and not only, I mean, you can't buy it, we can't advertise it, you can't talk about it.
Right, you
So
cannot
could
market it or
buy
advertise it.
This, you know, the first part of the rule is, there's also language in there, if I'm not mistaken, that if you do an 80% lower and want to turn that into a firearm, you have to serialize it, you have to contact the sheriff's department and get a serial
It's
number.
not the sheriff's department. You have to
Or
go to
the
an
ATF?
you have to go to an FFL,
An FFL.
Home-built rifle.
any home-built firearm. So it doesn't matter if you build it from scratch or you build it out of an 80%. You've got to go to an FFL, get a unique serial number, which I don't even know, we don't have a system for that. We don't assign serial numbers.
Yeah.
It's all done by the manufacturers. So it's a whole nother system that has to be created. And then you go build it, and within 90 days, you have to bring it back to us
We verify
to
it.
inspect and verify that you said it was going to be an AR-15 rifle, that you built it as an AR-15 rifle,
Yeah.
and we have to verify that. Absolute Insanity will do zero, all of that will do zero to stop any type of crime. I think they're also going after, I think a big part of this is the 3D printed gun thing.
Yeah.
They want to make sure
Yeah.
people can't print
Yeah.
3D guns. Again, all the guns used in crimes are all stolen to begin with, are bought erroneously. Very few guns used in crimes are actually bought legally. Okay? So it's just one of those, another thing that's going to make it harder on me and you, and make a whole set of rules here that, I mean, it will change the industry on how the industry operates in order to try to comply with this. And that's what they want. They want to make it very difficult to operate. They want to make it hard on you. They want to make it hard on us. That's what this is all about. It has nothing to do with crime, despite what they're talking about here.
Death by 1,000
Yep.
cuts. They're looking for an opportunity. They won't, they haven't, I mean, a few of them have come out and said it, but the goal is no more guns. And
So a
they're
couple
gonna
of
do
prominent
everything
ones
they can
have
to
been,
get
are
there.
on film saying if we could come take them all right now, we would. We just know that we can't get that passed.
And some have said,
So-
if you keep a gun in your home for personal defense, you're stupid.
Yep.
Of course, he's got, you know, armed security
Yeah.
guards outside his house all the time, so.
Just remember, go out on the balcony. I don't know who has a balcony nowadays, but
Everybody
I
has a
don't.
balcony. Thanks, Jim.
And fire both barrels of that double barrel shotgun, and that will scare off the
In the
bad
air,
guy.
yeah, yeah, they
So-
will leave. Oh,
Well,
yeah,
all right,
it's still.
that's it.
Mark
So we
played-
could.
Mark played that for me on the radio the other morning. I just couldn't stop giggling.
Yeah. So we can't. I guess that's our rant, right?
People
you
vote.
have a rant.
People vote for him.
Yeah. Yep. All
I
right.
did rant.
What?
I ranted. Well, and you know, a secondary rant is no gun law ever reduced crime. Bottom line is crime is illegal. It's not the tool's fault, it's the criminal's fault. And I talked about this a little bit on the radio with yesterday, or Tuesday, was that yesterday morning?
It was Tuesday
With
morning.
Mark. We have got to do a better job of assisting our veterans when they come back with, I don't care what they need help-wise, they deserve it. From a medical standpoint, if it's physical, if it's PT, if it's medical assistance, if it's mental health assistance, we have got to do a better job of helping those men and women.
So
period.
I will say
I'm
that.
ashamed of our country for not
Well,
taking care of them.
I'm going to defend us a little bit. I'm going to say, as a country, as a culture, we have done such a better job, Afghanistan and Iraq, the past 18 years, versus, say, what happened in Vietnam, of honoring our
Yeah,
vets when
I
they
don't-
came home.
I don't
right?
disagree with that.
So, but our system for supporting them, and specifically the VA, still is broken and has to be fixed.
Yeah.
It's not that the people in the VA are all bad people, but the system
Agreed.
itself. So this one in California, apparently the guy there had some multiple contacts with the system, and
Lots of red
nothing
flags.
really identified. Nothing said, "Hey, we need to help this guy."
And
So it makes it worse if he interacts with the system and doesn't get help
Yeah.
than if he didn't even interact, because then it's just one more instance of people don't care, which just furthers people down that mental issue road.
Do not misconstrue these comments as condoning the actions of that man.
Oh, absolutely not. He is responsible for his
Absolutely
actions, and
he
he's the
is.
only one responsible.
He is a
for it.
criminal.
So-
We absolutely do not,
Well, that's one of the
not
things you
trying to
put on
justify
here.
what happened in
Who's
any way, shape, or
responsible
form.
for it at the actions an individual takes? And the answer is in the question, the individual,
Yeah.
because they make a decision to do that, okay? Now, further banning magazines, guns, or anything else, it's already a crime to hurt people or to kill people, so banning another instrument or another tool isn't going to
Nope.
do any good.
Nope.
So,
The magazine that he used in California was already illegal.
illegal in California, yep.
So,
All right, hero, as I said earlier, it's all the vets.
I'm right here.
Monday was Veterans Day. I said vets.
oh, I'm sorry.
So Monday was Veterans Day, so hats off to all those men and women who have served, regardless of what capacity, regardless of which conflict. And I saw a number that there are not very many World War II vets left. That's I hate to see that, but you know, I did see the video of a 100-year-old World War II vet singing the national anthem at a game.
Wow.
So I thought that was quite
That'll
quite
bring
awesome.
tears
So-
to your eyes, won't it?
Yep. So hero of the vets, we appreciate your service.
Thank you. And the families of those who support those who serve. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. Absolutely.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this time. Did we hear anything back on that trolley thing?
Chris is looking into it. He said he didn't know the exact ownership structure, so he'll look into that and try to post
All right.
something when he
We'll get something posted on that to clarify that. So, all right.
Since everybody's confessed. Stay warm. Shovel your, hey, if
Go
you're going
get
to
your milk and eggs and bacon and
milk
bread
and
and all
eggs
that.
and bacon. If you're going to go shovel your driveway, don't have a heart attack. Be careful. I mean, we're joking,
Hire the neighbor kids.
but I'm talking to me probably more than anybody else.
hire the neighborhoods.
That's what these young kids are for. So,
Drive slow.
yep. Just be safe.
Four-wheel drive might mean you can go faster. It doesn't mean you stop faster. I'm just
That's
telling
true.
you.
All right, you got any questions, call us 636-220-1300. Email us at phil@therangestl.com. Or you can come by 14803 Manchester Road. Black Friday stuff will be out on Sunday. Come in and look at the new TP9 from Canik, Janik, whatever we're
You
going to
got
call
it.
it. So,
Century Imports.
we'll see you next week.
Yep. You ready?
I'm ready.